A blonde girl wakes up from a blackout with a weird gag in her mouth. She looks around, eyes wide with terror. She realizes 11 other people are wearing the exact same gags. Right in the middle of everyone stands a massive wooden crate. One guy grabs a crowbar and tries to pry the crate open. Suddenly, a squealing pig trots right out. The guy lets out a huge sigh of relief. Then he reaches back into the box. He pulls out a whole rack of weapons and ammo. Everyone rushes forward at once. They start gearing up and arming themselves. The blonde girl stays behind because she has no clue how to use a gun. By pure luck, she spots a key for the gags lying on the ground. She holds up the key and unlocks the gag for a guy nearby. Soon, everyone is using the keys to help each other out. Finally, they are all free. The guy with a rifle suddenly feels like a total hero. He tells the girl, "Follow me, I'll protect you." But a split second later, a bullet blows the girl's head clean off. The guy freaks out. He dives behind the crate to search for the shooter. Then some wannabe Rambo charges out. He's wielding 2 AR-15s and firing wildly, but his aim is absolute trash. He doesn't get far before a sniper on the hill turns him into Swiss cheese. As survivors keep dropping like flies, one girl completely snaps. She lets out a scream and bolts for the woods. The second she hits the trees, she steps right into a trap. Luckily, a nice guy is right on her heels. He pulls the girl out and saves her. He helps her keep running to escape. After just 2 steps, there's a loud click under his foot. A look of pure defeat washes over the guy's face. A landmine blows him to pieces instantly. The girl, however, is incredibly lucky. Her upper body lands perfectly back inside the original trap hole. Another guy passes by the trap a moment later. He reaches out a hand to give her a lift, but the girl grabs the pistol right out of his hand. She decides to herself and pulls the trigger. The horrified guy takes off running. He runs all the way to the edge of the woods. A barbed wire fence blocks his path. By now, only 4 survivors are left. They quickly strip off their jackets. They drape them over the wire to climb over. The guy in the hat is a second too slow this time. Before he can make it over, an arrow pierces his chest. Knowing he's done for, he pulls his pistol and charges back, but he can't even see the enemy. He takes 2 more arrows to the body. He collapses on the ground with a thud. The killer tosses a grenade at him. The killer waits 10 seconds before realizing they forgot to pull the pin. They quickly throw another one to finish the job. Boom! The man dies in total despair. The other 3 are lucky and sprint down the open road. They finally find a gas station. They burst inside immediately. The elderly couple running the place throw their hands up in fear. They shout that the money is all in the register. "Take whatever you want," they yell. Seeing the old couple is harmless, the 3 survivors relax. The man asks the owner for a phone. He dials 911 to report the situation. He tells the police to send backup as fast as possible. The dispatcher says officers will be there soon based on the phone's GPS. Meanwhile, the other 2 have already scavenged the store. They find some snacks and start scarfing them down. But after just a few bites, their stomachs start cramping. They collapse to the floor in total agony. Meanwhile, the old couple already has their gas masks on. They toss a gas grenade right at the 3 survivors. Realizing it's an ambush, the man pulls his gun to fire, but the shopkeeper is way faster. He whips out a weapon and ends the man's life in a heartbeat. Then the couple starts cleaning up the bodies like total pros. They vent out the gas and scrub the whole place down. In just a few minutes, the shop looks like nothing ever happened. With the job done, they grab their walkie-talkie to report to the boss. They tell him they just took out 3 more targets. The boss sounds very pleased. He tells them there's 1 more survivor on the way. He warns them to stay ready. The old couple is all smiles, eager for more. Sure enough, a survivor named Crystal pushes the door open. She enters the shop, looking totally on guard. She immediately asks for a pack of cigarettes. Then she leans down and pulls $20 out of her boot. While paying, she asks what state they're in. They calmly tell her it's Arkansas. They slide her change back across the counter. The owner slowly reaches for a hidden gun under the counter, but Crystal is 1 step ahead. She attacks first, grabs the owner's gun and kills them both. The couple dies without ever figuring out how she caught on. Actually, Crystal is a heavy chain smoker. She knows the exact price of cigarettes in Arkansas by heart. The second she saw the wrong change, she knew they were lying. After taking them out, Crystal looks for a car to make her getaway, but she finds the car door is rigged with a bomb. To take control of the situation, she gives up on running. She hides in the bushes nearby and waits to see what happens. Meanwhile, the boss doesn't get a reply and sends a drone to check the station. A gunshot rings out, and the drone drops right out of the sky. A survivor named Gary steps out from the shadows. He stomps the drone into scrap metal with 1 foot. Crystal realizes he's a fellow victim and reveals herself. She says hi to Gary, and they decide to team up. The 2 start hiking along the train tracks. Soon, they hear the loud whistle of an engine. The train is moving slow enough, so they hop into a boxcar. The car is already packed with refugees and their bags. Gary is immediately suspicious and raises his gun. He thinks the odds of hitting a refugee train by chance are way too low. He doesn't buy their act for a single second. Just as Gary's about to pull the trigger, the train screeches to a halt. A squad of armed soldiers storms into the car. They line everyone up for a search. Gary rushes forward to explain the nightmare they've been through, but the soldiers don't understand a word of English. It's clear they aren't in America anymore. Just then, one of the refugees speaks up and admits his true identity. He tells Gary the soldiers have no clue about the hunt. He tells them to shut up or he'll shove a grenade down Gary's pants. Gary has a short fuse and doesn't take threats well. He tackles the guy to the ground with everything he's got. Gary grabs a grenade, pulls the pin, and stuffs it right into the guy's pants. Boom! The man is blown to bits instantly. The soldiers see the group is packed with weapons and pin Gary down immediately. They take Crystal into an office to grill her about where she came from. After some back and forth, Crystal realizes she was shipped to Croatia overnight. She's a pawn in a sick hunting game run by bored, wealthy elites. Luckily, the military calls the U.S. Embassy for help. A guy named Oliver shows up claiming to be from the embassy. He puts Crystal and another survivor, Dawn, in his car to head for the airport. Crystal stays sharp and keeps the conversation going with Oliver. She quickly catches him in a lie and realizes he is just another hunter. She grabs the passenger handle, braces herself, and kicks Oliver right out of the moving car. Then, she cold-bloodedly floors it and runs him over. Later, Crystal and Dawn find Gary's body stuffed in the trunk. They find a box full of bribe money and a map. It hits them. The entire event is rigged from start to finish. They aren't surviving by luck. They are being herded toward a final destination. Crystal tells Dawn her own twisted version of the tortoise and the hare. In her version, the rabbit doesn't accept losing. He simply kills the turtle. It's a dark tale, but it reveals how Crystal sees the world. In this brutal world, survival isn't about rules. It's about who is harder, smarter, and more willing to do what it takes. As night falls, the hunters at the base get bored waiting for their next delivery. It turns out these hunters are all mega-rich Americans. They even hired a retired Special Forces vet, Sergeant Dale, as their tactical coach. That explains why the morning was such a one-sided slaughter. Suddenly, one guy heads into the woods to take a leak. Crystal ambushes him and drives a knife straight through his neck. Back at the base, the others hear footsteps and start spraying bullets at the door. They stop firing only to realize they just shot at a little pig. While they argue over who is being too jumpy, Crystal appears right behind them. She opens fire and wipes out every man in the room. A woman tries to take her out with a bow and arrow, but the room is too cramped, and her sneak attack fails. Crystal grabs an arrow and stabs the woman right in the gut. As Crystal moves in for the finish, Don tells her to stop. He claims she's just a woman and asks if they can show some mercy. Crystal ignores him and finishes the woman off with a single shot. Right then, the lead hunter Athena's voice crackles over the radio. She asks Don whether Crystal has been killed yet. Everything finally clicks into place for Crystal. Don isn't an innocent victim. He has a direct connection to Athena. Don raises his weapon for a standoff. Crystal does not hesitate for a second. She fires first and kills him. After that, she interrogates the badly wounded Sergeant Dale. During the talk, Crystal reveals she served in Afghanistan. That explains why she is so calm, skilled, and deadly throughout the hunt. Once she gets Athena's location, Crystal kills Sergeant Dale too. It all started when Athena and her rich friends joked in a group chat about hunting deplorables. The chat leaked online, and the public went wild with rage. People actually believed the group was doing it for real. Their reputations and careers were trashed. In a twisted move, they decided to make the rumors come true. They kidnapped the people they blamed for the leak and turned the joke into a massacre. Athena targeted Crystal because of a social media post she thought was an insult. But when they finally face off, the truth is even more ridiculous. Athena kidnapped the wrong woman. The real target was someone else from the same town with a similar name. Crystal was never even supposed to be there. The final showdown explodes in Athena's fancy kitchen. They punch, slam, and smash each other with anything they can reach. Crystal grabs a bottle of red wine off the table and hurls it. Athena lunges to save the expensive bottle and sets it down carefully. Then Athena catches her off guard, levels a shotgun, and fires. Crystal scrambles to the second floor to hide. Athena is right on her heels. They fight their way back down from the second floor to the first. Their guns get knocked away, so they switch to brutal hand-to-hand combat. At the peak of the fight, the sneaky Athena grabs a blender blade and an ice pick. She lands a sneak attack and stabs Crystal in the stomach. Then she circles behind and jams the ice pick through Crystal's shoulder. But Crystal is even tougher. She grabs Athena and pulls her close. She takes the blade sticking out of her own gut and drives it into Athena's organs. With one violent jerk, she guts Athena open. On the verge of death, Athena still won't let it go. She asks Crystal if she's really the person she was looking for. Crystal denies it one last time. Athena takes her final breath, full of bitter regret. As she hovers near death, Crystal spots a rabbit nearby. It echoes the strange rabbit story she told earlier. Using the last of her strength, she patches her wound. She puts on Athena's fancy clothes, takes Athena's dog, and boards the private jet to leave.